Hi, we're off on a journey today to Ocracoke Island. Right now we are on Edwards Island and we're headed to the Outer Banks. This is my sister and myself. We're now on the ferry. The ferry is actually on Edwards Island. It is a 2-hour, 15-minute journey, and it's $30. It's quite pleasant, especially if you take wine, cheese, and crackers. We got off the ferry in Ocracoke. As you see, we're coming in right now to an area that's kind of quaint. We got a house there, a hotel, motel from out of the past. It was nice, it was clean, it was not fancy. It's on Ocracoke Island, and now we are coming up. Once we're off of our front porch and moving along, we're coming up to the Ocracoke Lighthouse, which is a very pretty, pleasant place filled with colors and delightful breezes, but hot. This beautiful home is color gorgeous. The lighthouse has been there for a long time. Anyone would love this house, especially me. But the Ocracoke Lighthouse is really pretty. We went to the cemetery, and John went in and read it for us and got mosquito bitten, bites, whatever. Right here, we left that area, and we're taking another ferry, which is free. It takes 15 minutes, and it crosses over into what is actually the Outer Banks, and there's another ferry going right now. Bob and John are standing down there taking it all in. Now they're waving to us. Hi, Bob. Hi, John. Another boat there filled with people. Oh dear, I meant to take this picture off. It's not lovely. Anyway, this is the Hatteras Lighthouse, which was moved because it was going to fall into the ocean if there was another storm. It is huge. It was an amazing, amazing feat. I'm not positive, but I think it took like 3 months. Right now, we're looking at a different lighthouse. This lighthouse is the Currituck Lighthouse. It's really pretty because the house you're seeing is just a wonderful looking cottage house where they kept the fuel and stuff for that lighthouse. This is the third lighthouse we're speaking about. This is not the one that was moved. They look similar, but the other one's like a candy cane design. This is the top of the lighthouse with all its decoration, and again the small house. This was another house that was out on a pier, which I thought, how wonderful. You guys know the way I love water. This is the inner coastal area. I don't think it's called the inner coastal area, but it's the bay side of the island. This is in Duck. Duck is a really wonderful town filled with many neat shops. Now right now we're going to Jockey's Ridge and Kill Devil Hill. Right there are people walking up, and they come down with sleds and slides and rolling and jumping and running. We didn't try it. Didn't look all that safe to us. I'm sure it would be fun, but if it were cooler and not mid-90s ready to boil your head off, we probably would have tried it. There we're walking. Again, it's a ways out, and it goes on for a mile or so. Back in the background is a hill where they take hang gliders off. Gayle's on the phone. That's not unusual. It really was too hot that day. Here we are at Kill Devil or Kitty Hawk. This is where the Wright brothers flew their first airplane. They were listening to a really interesting lecture. We learned a lot. They built and put their airplane together. It weighed 600 and some pounds. They put it together in Dayton, Ohio, where Bob and I are from, so we are the home of flight. But here's where they took it by train because it was very windy. That was a picture of the very first liftoff. This is just something I thought was interesting because the way they held that up with the niche or notch they've got in the door. But their plane went 12 seconds the first time. They flew it 4 times that day the last time, and it's all marked there. This is where they kept it. It's a replica, though. They put it together in there. That's the monument, and they flew it off of there. 12 seconds the first time. The second time, that's Orville and one of his friends. Third time was like 30 seconds, and here is how they laid to fly it so that they could control it. The 4 flights took place December 1903. Here's a letter that they wrote back about their excitement to their sister. They owned a cycle shop there. At the 4th flight, the flight crashed because a wind lifted it up. Nobody was in it. They were finished. The plane was sitting there. A wind came along, lifted the glider plane up, and it came back down, and it self-destructed. So they went back to Dayton, Ohio for a year or two. I think it was maybe 3 years, and worked out all the kinks and whatever, and came back there again. The Outer Banks was chosen because it is one of the windiest, second windiest areas next to Chicago, where they could have soft sand to land on, and where they could come and bring their plane and have the winds. The Outer Bank is the home of probably 3,000 shipwrecks. They have uncovered about 1,500 of them. People used to originally move out there in order to stay and bring in the stuff that came from the shipwrecks. It is a windy, rough area. It is 22 miles out in the ocean, so you can imagine that it is rougher. If it gets hit by much of a hurricane, I can't imagine how it would survive. It has beautiful areas. It has wild horses. You take a Jeep most of the time out on the sand for miles and miles and miles to see like that. To see the horses, we did not do that. It was $175 to do that. And our car could never have made it out there. These have been a lot of the pictures of the houses out on the Outer Bank. Duck being the prettiest, and Corolla.